Hi, I'm the Nomad Producer with StartProducingMusic.com. Today I want to share with you my current studio, which is actually not the most equipped one I ever had. Over the years I got to rent studios for long periods of time and have a lot of equipment surrounding me, and slowly but surely I got to realize what it is that I like and what I like it for. So I want to share in this point in time what it is that I've got and what specifically each is used for. So before we talk about the artsy kind of pieces of gear, let's talk about the fundamentals. I am a MacBook Pro user. I like mobility. I like to record on the road. I like to travel. And this, in the end of the day, is the most important piece of gear I have, and I don't move an inch without it. My monitors are the Genelec 8040. I really like the fact that they're super sturdy. Again, because I travel and move a lot, I need something that won't easily break, and this heavy metal chassis is just fantastic. Now that we have that out of the way, we can talk about more artsy pieces of gear. The first synth I bought was the Moog Sub Fatty. This is a monophonic synth. It sounds great. I really love its simplicity and sound, and I mainly use it for basses, solos, and maybe sometimes plucky 808s or percussion stuff. Don't let the simplicity fool you. This can reach really crazy tones. I really love this unit. I think at a certain point I'll upgrade to the subsequent 37, but for now I'm having a lot of fun with it, and it really got me falling in love with analog gear again. After a year or so with the Sub Fatty, I really realized that I want a polyphonic synth. Lucky for me, I found the Prophet 08, which I personally like better than the Rev 2. The mid-range and high frequencies on the synth are really amazing, and beside the polyphony, it also gives a lot of features that the Sub Fatty does not. I usually find myself using this for strong pads, arpeggiators and sequences. After a while with the Prophet, I kind of realized that I'm slowly getting dragged back to being surrounded with knobs and falling in love with analog gear. And because I already owned a very strong monophonic synth and a polyphonic synth, I realized that it's not another synth that I need, but a whole new color palette. So I got into the modular world. So I'll create a whole video on my modular setup soon, but just for general knowledge, this is not your common additive synthesis kind of modular setup. This is more of a complex effects palette that uses the power of modular synthesis to manipulate filters, distortions, reverbs, delays, and granular synthesis modules. There's actually only one module that creates sound and not only manipulates it. Moving on to the guitar region, I have a very cool pedal board with a collection that is built over the course of 10 years or so. I have 4 different distortion pedals. I have this ring modulator / tremolo by Fairfield Circuitry. I love this company. I love their designs. They're very creative, and this has such a cool tone to it. Then there's the Hologram Infinite Jets, which I just fell in love with years ago when I heard it for the first time and got it immediately. And I use this mainly to explore and reach places I did not necessarily intend on going. Next up, the Mobius by Strymon, which is a very good modulation pedal. And then the El Capistan by Strymon as well. I think this is the best sounding tape delay pedal I have heard. It also has a spring reverb and a lot of features that I just love. And then the Big Reverb, which is kind of a small Russian company. I found someone selling this and bought it for like 80 bucks or so, and it just stayed ever since. I have the Crybaby from Hell. I actually started making music by falling in love with metal, and Dimebag is one of my heroes. It is very flexible, but maybe new things will suit my new taste better now. As far as guitars go, I used to have a Gibson Les Paul, which I recently sold after finding this weird looking Telecaster, which I just loved. I bought it in the first lockdown for pennies, and it sounds great, so I sold the Les Paul. I have this acoustic guitar, which I found broken in a friend's house and I just renovated and it sounds great. This classical guitar, which I have recently bought and I'm in love with. Then a few busted guitars, which I usually use with just bizarre tuning, trying to emulate sound of instruments that don't exist and are mainly used for exploration. I have this guitar I built 10 years ago that I don't really play, but it is a very cool trophy to have. My last purchase was this beautiful amp, which is a clone of an amplifier from the 40s, which I just asked for a lot of modifications for. This is a lot of fun and it upgraded my guitar sound to amazing extents. For my recording chain, I have a modest but very, very good microphone collection consisting of a clone of a U47, two Neumann 184s, an AKG 414EB. My preamps are the API 512C and 512V. The guitar amp is always connected to the 512V, and then my microphones are usually connected to the 512C. Then there's this vintage summing mixer, which I've only used a few times. I've actually lent it to a friend for years and recently got it back, and nowadays is more a piece of furniture than gear that I actually use. For MIDI controllers, I have the Kawai MP5, which is a weighted keyboard. I really love how this feels, and the Ableton Push, which I oftentimes use with Pro Tools because it makes no sense and it really throws me to directions that I would not go to if I would use the piano keyboard. Everything here is set up in a way that is really easy to access. I just turn the unit on and start playing. It's a lot of fun and it constantly evolves as I develop as a producer. I'll make a video soon enough about how I've built the acoustics for the room. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments below. Subscribe for more cool content and I'll see you soon.